Hey there, everyone. This is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach for the Small Biz Society. How you guys doing today? And for those of you who are new to either my website, Keep It Simple Coach, or which you can, of course, find me at keepitsimplecoach.info is my website. And my Facebook group, where we are focusing our group's attention today, is the Small Biz Society. And you can find us at smallbizsociety.info. It'll take you to our Facebook group. There you just answer rather, three simple questions. Your in life friend. It is a private Facebook group for DIY entrepreneurs, those who are new to launching their business and are doing it by themselves, but not anymore because they get me and other people in the group because DIY is just that. We're doing it ourselves because, hey, that's what we get right now, and we'll be able to move forward and bring on some team members as we continue to grow. So, listen, we're going to be continuing our coaching conversations around email marketing, as well as today is Thriving Thursday. So we are thriving. We are past the midway point of the week. I hope everyone is doing great today. My day has been super duper busy. I hope yours has been productive and prosperous. So, listen, what I thought we're going to do again is we're going to be again focusing on your email campaign marketing reset efforts. And what we've been actually speaking around is if you've tried email marketing and you don't feel like you've gotten your a good foundation and grounded in it, it's okay. You can do a reset because hey, you're the boss. You get to do what is in the best interest of your business. And so this week is what we've really been focusing on. So if you haven't had a chance to catch any of our prior video live coachings this week, you can visit back over in our Facebook group. It is an archive of all the videos, and you can catch them there while they are still available. And if you haven't been a part of my newsletter group, you can again visit the Keep It Simple Coach info, and there you can sign up for our weekly newsletters and announcements whenever I'm going live or any of our other upcoming events. So feel free to join the mailing list group. So thanks to those of you who are joining. We have some new members inside of the Small Biz Society. I want to say thank you and welcome to the group. I am cheering you on so that you can grow your business. If you haven't already done so, if those of you who are watching me live, you can just give the click here at the bottom for the StreamYard so that I can see your comments, and then I can email and text you back while we're doing our live chat. But listen, we've got a lot of material to cover. And so I certainly want you to get as much out of this time that we have together. So if you haven't already done so, make sure that you grab your journals, grab a good pen, get you some beverage of choice. Okay, today is just water. Normally, well, Anyway, so we're going to get focused in. Yesterday, we had looked at segmentation. And so now we're ready to get the email itself into motion. So we're going to kind of focus start on the subject line. So you'll notice, for instance, when just like every other type of email, you normally have to put in a subject line in it. The same is going to hold true for you when it comes to creating an email campaign. The reason why these two components of a subject line and your pre-header text are two areas that we typically are not doing as good a job. And I'll be the first one to admit I'm trying to do better myself. So I'm with you on this one. So I'm learning and growing and wanting to share this with you. But these are the two areas that we're going to talk about in particular are your subject line and your pre-header text. And you're probably wondering, what is that? Now, each one of the email automation systems that you each may have may be a little different, but the components are all very similar in nature. In fact, if you were to open up your inbox right now, you're going to notice that the first thing that you're going to see is the subject line, right? And there's another part that is kind of like a pretext. It's kind of like a little coming at you soon space that you also have an opportunity to leverage. So I want to talk about that a little bit and give you some pointers around that piece. Because yesterday, as we mentioned, you now have a goal for your email marketing. Like, what is it you're trying to accomplish? Then the next thing is, what is the call to action? What do you want this person, the reader, to actually do when they get your email? You kind of want to do it from what we call backwards by design. You're thinking about the end result first, and then you build towards it. So you know why you want to do your campaign. You've now set a call to action in motion. What do you want them to do? That's the button, that's the link that you want them to take action on. And then the other part is, who are you sending this email to? It may not be for everybody. We talked about segmentations. So look at the prior videos for the early part of the week. Also check your inbox and your email. I sent you links there as well. But that is where we are focusing on. So now that you know who you're emailing and why you're emailing, and also what do you want that reader to do, we now want to focus on the first thing that they're going to see when they receive your email, and that's your subject line. So I put together a couple of notes. Let me pull that up right here. Okay. So again, when we think of a subject line, we're thinking about, it's a very limited amount of space, number one. So you do have to be artful about it. And that's one of the critical things about setting up your subject line is you want to do two things. The art of emailing is that you want it to be both interesting and persuasive. And so you're going to be able to capture your reader first off in the subject line. Let's admit it. When you get an email, if it doesn't interest you when you first see it landing in the inbox list, you're probably going to say, it's not something I'm probably going to be really interested in reading. Therefore, I'm probably going to hit the delete button before I even get to open it. So I want you to put yourself in your list, readership list, and I want you to think about, is it going to be open worthy? And if it is, how do you make it so? And the way in which you're going to be able to make it so is, again, persuasive and interesting, but not too cheesy. So there's got to be this balance. And so that, again, something I work on all the time. Sometimes I get it good. And then there's other times when it not so much so. But it's better to try and fail than never to have tried at all. Now, with that being said, the whole point of it is that you do want them to open the email. Remember, we talked about your open rate and your click-through rates. So your open rate is really heavily dependent on what that subject line is like. So you want to be able to grab their attention, make it interesting, and then when they get inside, persuade them enough that they want to click. Okay, now, I got a couple of suggestions for you guys. So let me pull that open for you. So when you're writing a subject line, write like a real person. Don't think of this as some cheesy used carsman, a woman type of a sales opportunity. It's not about that. It is, however, about keeping it simple and that it's not overly salesy. So when you think of it, crafting your message, especially if this is most of the time, let's face it, we're trying to keep our relationship engaging enough, but we're also offering them an opportunity to take action. In many cases, it could be for some type of a sale, or at least you're heading them down a sales journey in some way, right? So you're still building a relationship. So this is the other thing I learned about not too long ago, is that when you're writing your sales emails, or any email marketing for that matter, if your email subject line sounds like it's leading to a fancy newsletter, or it's a like styled message and it's jammed with like marketing lingo and a buy button inside, it's likely to be sent to your promo tab. So most of you'll notice, for instance, if you're using your own personal Gmail accounts or Yahoo, they may mark it as spam. So we have to be careful even in our word choice about what we're using, because the systems are filtering it. And so in as much as it may be the first one going out, if it's a continuous one and they're noticing a pattern, so they're noticing that there are these patterns. So if you have this buy now and very salesy, then they're automatically putting it into the promo tab, which is kind of like a tag that is being filtering your mail, or even putting it straight into the spam folder. So you do want to be mindful of the word choices that you're using, not only in your subject line, but like we talked about yesterday, in your call to actions and your button language. So be mindful of that. So I've come to understand that better. So you want to be mindful of that. Another thing is, of course, you want to avoid some catchy slogans like, let's see, what do I have here? Close is the best new innovation in CRM history. So when you hear certain terms like that, you may be like, that's not interesting. Throw it to the wind, set it to the delete trash. You're good to go. So if they think it's a sales email, they're more than likely going to treat it like a sales email, and therefore you're not going to get the open rate that you want. So remember that you just want to write like who you are, keeping it authentic, a real human being behind the curtain, right? But not too salesy. And I know that's a lot to try to balance. You'll start to get a hang of it after a while, but this is why writing emails consistently helps you get better at it. Let me just check back here, make sure I'm not missing anybody. All right. In case I missed anybody, put your comments and the questions as I'm going along. Don't want to overlook you guys. Okay. Now, that being said, let me go back to my notes. Okay. So one of the strategies that you could consider using is, as long as you're asking the right question, asking a question in your subject line is a good strategy. So it also provokes the interest of the reader to ask the question themselves when they see a question. So you just want to keep in mind that you're structuring the question in a normal way you would ask it in a conversation. So remember, emails should be pretty much conversational. You don't want them to make them too stark and blah, and sales structure like it's a robot. Make it like it's passing conversation. So write like you talk is pretty much how that would work. So asking a question is another strategy that you can consider using for your subject line. So another way of looking at effective subject lines, these are some examples that I pulled out. And again, the better your subject line, the better your open rate's going to be. So you just always want to be mindful. Treat it like you do the others. So one could be quick request. Another one could be trying to connect. Another one could be just the name of your company or the name of their company. When you put the name of their company in the subject line, then they're like, that's my company name. What are they talking about? So there's another little strategy that you can think of in bringing it in. So asking a question and coming up with some topics that aren't too salesy. Another one, here's my other note that I have for you guys. Okay, here. The other space to this is also having to do not only with the subject line. So here's some other ones I've got is you've never seen this deal before, and another one could be last day for something free. That's all some kind of promos that you have. Another trick that I've heard about that you don't want to do is don't write your subject lines all first letter caps as if you're writing a title. You want to write it with just the first word of the sentence to be capitalized. The rest should all just remain lowercase. For some reason, that's another trigger that the filters are using, and they're seeing that as some type of a title and not a regular conversational subject line, like a salutation. So another little tip that I've learned about that you may want to consider. Okay, so there's that. Then there is this one little space that beyond the subject line, you're going to see that in your inboxes. So if you just open up your phone, depending on if you're watching me or you're on your computer, if you look in your inbox right now, you're going to see your subject line is typically in bold. And then you're going to see some additional text that follows behind it. That's what's called pre-header text. So pre-header text is just that. It's a precursor, right? It's your opportunity to kind of give a quick inside tip about what's inside and also in short order. And that's also something that they're going to see first before they open up. So if there's some key information that you want to give to your readers, even if they don't open up your email, that's the space that you can use it. So that's some key real estate when you're looking at writing email content that you want to take advantage of. You may not even know that you even have that space up at the top in the tools that you're using for your email automation. But type inside of your search boxes in your applications, if you're using MailerLite, if you're using ConvertKit, Leadpages, MailChimp, Constant Contact, they all have a component called pre-header text. So you want to take advantage of that real estate because a lot of times, and I know I do it, I'm going to read the subject line and that pretext. I haven't even opened up the email because most of us are using our mobile devices. And that's the other thing, is that because of it being on a mobile device, we tend to read things and not even open up the emails to even see what's inside. So your subject line and your pre-header text are two key bits of content that you want to get right the first time. So one, it doesn't go into spam, but also stops the person while they're scrolling in their inbox enough that they say, there's worthy information just for that bit of information itself. So I want you to be mindful of that. Okay, go back. Let me just check on my lights. Okay, there we go. Now, we've got our subject line, and now we know a little bit better about pre-header text and how is it that you can take advantage of it. So please do so. The next thing, aside from having a creative subject line, is that you want to then think about personalizing the inside. So now that they've opened it, always make sure that you personalize your salutation, how you're going to greet your greeting line, how you're going to greet someone. It could be hey, it could be hello, but add that person's first name. Don't do a dear sir or ma'am or everybody. If you personalize it, they're more apt to say, oh, it's something for me personally. So there's a field that you're able to add so that it will automatically populate that person's name in that structure inside of your email system. So again, works in each one of the different platforms. Okay. Now, the other piece, let me make sure I got you. Subject line, pre-header text, and word choices so you don't get put into your spam. Now, the other thing that someone had asked me about was around what's a good time to send that email. Now, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I did want to just share with you a link. There's a report that they put out every year on the best times to send emails. So this is aggregated data. So remember yesterday I told you about how they're using the data and how to figure out open rates and click rates as an aggregated data from all the users inside of platforms. And they're taking those behaviors for all the clicking and the opening rates of all of us who are subscribers to those platforms. And they're checking out, pulling all that data together and averaging it out. So this one is the same about what's the best time to send emails. Some of this may be industry specific and also can make for better sales. So when you send out an email, you want to be mindful of when do you want to set it to send. So you don't have to send it at the time in which you're writing it. You can schedule it. But I wanted to make sure that I shared with you that bit of information. So I'm going to put that here in the comments as a link. And I'm going to put it here. There we go. And I'm going to put it in the banner so you guys can see it inside of the video. But OmniSend is another platform, and they also have a blog, which you can get lots of great information from. I subscribe to it. And one of the things that they did have is a report, again, on best times to send emails. So check it out. It's always useful to have as much information at your disposal that you can make some decisions around. Everything isn't always kind of black and white. So there's the opportunity for you to look at the best times of day, the best days of the week. Um, let's see, what were some other ways? Some of that was based on the times, the first 10 days of the month versus the middle of the month. So maybe even some opportunities where there may be a difference in the change, but there's some useful information in the report. So do check it out. And there may be some other aggregate data as well. Best, like I said, best days of the week to send an email, best times of the day to send an email. And again, some of that might be based on industries as well. So, but check it out. Okay, let me take off that. Okay. And personalization. All right. So here's another good thing for you to consider. I'm going to walk you through this and actually send you a link because I'm not about recreating the wheels. So now that you have your incentive and you have that CTA that we talked about, and now you can figure out what's the time of day that you're going to send this email, and you can use the data to make some decisions. Another key thing to do is testing out your actual emails before you send them, but you want to make sure that you do have them test. You want to make sure that all your links work and your subject line, your offer, everything is working and in order, and make sure you're testing all those sections themselves. Now, I want to give you a freebie because that's exactly what this is. But Ben Setters over at Copyblogger put together 3 email templates ready to use at your disposal. Hey, I say use it, don't lose it. So these, like I said, fill in the blank templates. Those are great. And because for those of you who don't like to write or don't think you're good writers, then simply start with these templates to get your blood vessels blowing and growing. And then you can start to customize and making them your own in practice. Like I said, you're not going to get better at sending out email unless you're sending out email and practicing it and getting better at it. And also consistency matters. So now that you have your call to action, you have your segmentation, you know what your subject line is, you know the reason why you have a campaign to begin with. You know what time of day to send it or the day of the week to send it. Now you need the bulk of the email. It's like the body. So here are some templates that you can utilize. So I'm going to just pop that link in there for you. And, oh, not that one. Here it is. It's on this side. There we go. So it's always good when you find good resources to share them. I don't have all the answers and I'll never protest to do so. So there's a link in the chat and I'll put it here in the comments. This is 3 simple email templates to try. And I'll show this up in the banner just so you have it. So give credit where credit is due. All right, so copyblogger.com. And if you just go here to that address, you can find 3 simple marketing templates that you could use right away and get it started. And at least pulling all this stuff together is going to make it so much more easier for yourselves. And again, it's better to try and fail than never to have tried at all. And again, we want to keep this simple at the same time. All right, so let's do a quick wrap up. Let me just make sure. Okay, and then of course, once you've gotten in, so you'll notice in this template, there's 3 of them. So I'll go over that real quick. One of the things that you'll notice in the emails themselves is it's just not salesy. These are intentional. So you're actually getting 3 different kinds that you could use. And again, change it to your voice. Don't feel like you have to do it simply what you have. Tweak it a little. You have your own personality. So the first one is simply a story email. And again, all of these are also pointing to going to your website. So emails do a couple of things. It helps you to get the traffic to your site. And so in these particular ones, there's one that's just pretty much telling a story, but it's also um, where keeping in mind about what your purpose is, what problem are you solving, what pain or problem are you that is pressing to other people and that you're able to solve by way of a story. Now, for those of you who are fairly new to the group, we went through a series on storytelling and how your backstory is how you're connecting and how you got to start your business and how that's your connector to your customer. So this is kind of a way in which you can use your email marketing to convey that story and how you are the problem solver at the same time. The other template is a little bit more complex, but it's certainly worth trying. And it is a historical solution email, meaning that back in the day, this is how somebody conquered this particular problem and how you have revolutionized it in a way by your approach to coming and bringing the solution to a problem. So just another way of taking another angle at storytelling a bit and how it is that you're able to do it. Because again, people like to connect with you and what story you have or what approach and that they feel as though might be a good connection for worthwhile for them. So that's the other one. And then the other one is just testimonies. Can't tell you enough. Trying and bringing in your valued customer's voice to your email is also going to be a good segue of being able to bring them to your website, bring them to a product or a service to say they tried it, they liked it. Don't you want to try it too? Click here. That's that CTA to learn more, do more, be more. And then that way they can, again, push them into identify to either a cart or to your sales page. They can take action. And that's simply what your email marketing campaigns are all about. Now, that was just one email. You do have an opportunity to have an email sequencing if you want to get further along in doing. Those are typically once somebody has taken action with either buying a purchase or they've done some type of a lead magnet. So those will be the two where you want to have a series of emails. And I went through your welcome email. So that's also inside of our library. You will find an example of a welcome email series and how you can take advantage of that. For those of you who are really new and you haven't done any of this yet, a welcome email series is certainly something you want to have as kind of like your evergreen or what your kind of standardized email every one of your recipients are going to get. So I share with you a freebie template of 5 emails templates that you could utilize yourself. So that's inside of our group in the Small Biz Society. So feel free that you can go and grab that one as well. Okay, so lots of freebies and useful videos are inside of the group. So listen, we are headed down the track. You now have templates, you've got strategies, you've got reasons why and how to get all of this done that now you don't have to be fearful about setting out an email campaign for marketing. You've got all the pieces and parts. Now, if you need some personalized help, I'm certainly available at your disposal. You can contact me here. Just direct message me in the group. I'll be happy to do a one-on-one with you. And you can also find my link for my one-on-one inside the group and at my Facebook, not my Facebook group, but over at my website, keepitsimplecoach.info, and click on the contact button and you will be able to set up a one-on-one time with me. And then I will help you to personalize your experience and help you get through whatever hurdles that you are currently facing. Because one thing I do is we keep it simple. So this is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach. Keep that email marketing going and get those content marketing strategies off the ground. Until another, let's get busy. Talk to you later.